It just, look, I'll just say it like this. I made movies in South Africa. I've been in South Africa. I sent your son to South Africa to talk to people that I know who still live there. There's no white genocide, okay? There's not a genocide happening. There is crime, as there is all over the world. Yeah. But it's not about killing off white people. This is just straight. That was gas.
Is there a white genocide in South Africa?
No, there's no sign of it, never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group. They benefited from democracy more than anybody else. 64% of all boardrooms in South Africa are still white. The average income of white South Africans are vastly higher than black South Africans. No, there are better schools, there are better education, private health care. This is the land of milk and honey if you're white.
To know what's happening in our world. So, South African President Ramaphosa paid a visit to the White House yesterday, which turned into a surprise presentation on conspiracy theories of a white genocide in his country. Take a look.
We have many people that feel they're being persecuted and they're coming to the United States. And we take from many locations, if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on, we do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
Has any land been expropriated in South Africa without compensation since the first all-race election in this country?
I'm not aware of anyone. Not a single farm that I'm aware of was expropriated without compensation since 1994.
So how do we interpret President Trump's executive order?
It is possible that South Africa has offended the United States with his policy on the Palestinians, and it could be that with his policy on Russia, the ambiguities of those policies. And
they take the land, they kill the white farmer, and when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
the farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black.
Oh my God! So between ambushing Zelensky and this, why would world leaders continue to come to the White House?
Okay, well, first of all, this is the problem with getting all your information from Laura Loomer and Elon Musk. Yeah. Because this is what they're going to deal you. And it was false conspiracy theory.
Whoopi Goldberg has a personal connection to South Africa. She acted in 1992 movie Sarafina, where she played a teacher named Mary Mazombuka. The film was about students fighting against apartheid in 1970s. Whoopi Goldberg spent time in Soweto while filming and learning a lot about South African life and struggle. She always has spoken with love and respect for the country and its people. Because of her time in South Africa, Whoopi Goldberg feels strongly when people spread lies about what's happening there. She wants people to know the truth based on her real experience. Whoopi Goldberg is a famous American actress and a TV host. She spoke on The View about the claims made by Donald Trump. She said, Donald Trump, there is no white genocide happening in South Africa. She strongly disagreed and said those claims are false and they are insulting. She said, yes, there is crime in South Africa, but no one is trying to kill white people just because of they are white.
Is there a white genocide in South Africa?
No, there's no sign of it, never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group. They benefited from democracy more than anybody else. 64% of all boardrooms in South Africa are still white. The average income of white South Africans are vastly higher than black South Africans. No, there are better schools, there are better education, there are private health care. This is the land of milk and honey if you're white.
With us now, Tita Medea. She's the politics editor for Eyewitness News, based in Johannesburg, and was in the Oval Office as it happened. Welcome to the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you surprised when you saw that?
No, not necessarily. I was amused by the latest gimmick, for sure, but surprised not so much. I think the South African delegation, South African journalists have been talking about it. We knew the president would walk into some sort of trap. It's not surprising. The invite was there. The desire for the conversation to open up the channels between the USA and South Africa are there. South Africa's been trying, by all means, to try and open up the doors again. And so, no one was surprised.
Okay.
Did we expect the lights to be turned off and a visual illustration? No, not that far.
That is the new the new reality with Donald Trump. The issue here, I think, is an important one about what is actually happening in South Africa. Is it true that white farmers are being killed in South Africa?
It's an interesting way that you've asked that question. I don't think the issue is what's happening in South Africa. I think the issue is what's being peddled about what's happening in South Africa. If you watch today's engagement, let me get to the point first. If you watch that entire engagement, the recognition, the painful recognition, the startling truth of crime in South Africa, violent crime, was actually uttered by everybody there from South Africa. Is it targeted towards a specific group? Is it an ethnic cleansing? That's the question, right? Based on what's been said about South Africa the world over, at least people aligned to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's not a fact.
Okay, so we don't deny that there's a lot of violent crime in South Africa, right? Seven times the murder rate.
Across the board.
Okay, so the issue is whether or not, I guess, whites are being targeted disproportionately. Is that what you're taking issue with?
No, that would be the claim. The issue is that the claim is falsehood. White people are not being targeted, Leland. Nobody.
So when
crime is experienced by everybody, not just white
was
people.
Chanting, kill, kill, you have to kill to be part of a revolution, on and on. He was talking about killing blacks or killing whites?
Do you need the context of what that song is? Because you can't take out the context of what that is. That is actually important. It cannot be that he's giving an instruction when that's not the fact. I think we do need to take into consideration the context. What he's chanting is an anti-apartheid song that was sang by leaders in the lead up to apartheid. The back and forth today about that song is whether or not it's relevant in modern day South Africa. Should we still be singing that song? If there's a grouping in the country that feels otherwise.
How can somebody be defending singing a song that's talking about killing other people?
I'm not defending singing the song. I'm saying to you that's the conversation that's
don't you think white farmers would be scared when they heard that song?
And that's the question that's being put to Julius Malema. I said to you that conversation is happening. It's put to Julius Malema that when you do this, this is what we worry about. But when you look at how long he's been singing the song and whether it correlates with the numbers of farmers under attack, particularly white people, it's not there. People who are being attacked on the farms are farm dwellers and farm workers. That's also a reality that's got to be.
If white farmers are not being targeted or white farmers are not being killed, why are so many who have big land holdings willing to give up their entire lives to come to America?
Where are they? Show them to me.
We had them land.
Those 49 people are not farmers. There are plenty of reports from South Africa that many of those are not farmers. Those are chances. Please, again, show me the evidence. Those are people taking an opportunity. America's giving them an opportunity.
You're saying
they're not farmers.
I'm just trying to figure this out. You're saying that your president has not in any way targeted whites, even though Elon Musk, who was there, can't get a license for his business.
He was where?
In the Oval Office.
He was in the Oval Office. He's never been to South Africa. When was the last time Elon Musk was in South Africa?
But he can't get.
When was the last time he was in South Africa? His father, Elon Musk's father.
I'm not talking about when he was there.
No, hold on. I want to also make you understand one thing.
The accusation is that many whites cannot get licenses to do business, among them Elon Musk.
So we're being forced to undermine our transformative laws. We must be okay with a South Africa with the majority that is denied of their own land, with the majority is deprived of access to economic transformations and means of production. We must be okay and not move the needle in any way to try and fix that. We must be okay with South Africa being labeled the most unequal country in the world and not try and do anything to rectify that. Because that's what that argument says.
No, but the fact of
there are laws.
The fact of the matter is
they must be bent for an individual.
No, that
is what the question is.
But if you make laws that target a certain race, don't.
But there are none of those. Where are those, Leland? You're calling me as a journalist from South Africa, and you're putting those to me. I'm asking you for the proof. Donald Trump today, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to lecture a little bit. Donald Trump today called us in there, saying he's got proof of a genocide. South Africa's gone to the ICJ saying that they believe Israel is committing a genocide in Palestine. But they put evidence on the table. They put evidence on the table. A chant is not proof of genocide.
Yes, it is.
A private monument with fake crosses and not actual grave sites is not proof of a genocide. I don't believe that I'm being called in here to defend the indefensible. Those things aren't facts.
Okay.
Donald Trump did not put facts on the table.
You say that. We obviously have the president. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Her name is Sidi Madia, ladies and gentlemen. Our journalists are brilliant. We are the honey. We are everything. Hello, Mzandiza Gossip Girl. Sidi Madia is a prominent South African political journalist and an associate politics editor at the Eyewitness News, EWN. I think you've seen this on television. A division of Prime Media Broadcasting. She is widely recognized for in-depth reporting on South African politics, covering topics such as elections, governance, public policy, and international relations. So right now, Mugelo was like, Donald Trump, not with us.
Golf, there was a lot of laughter. And it was when a reporter asked about genocide that things really took a turn.
It was actually me who asked that.
You asked that question.
Yes, because I asked, what would it take, President Trump, to convince you that there is no white genocide in South Africa? And then you would have seen that President Cyril Ramaphosa opted to say, I'll answer that. And as he was responding, that's when Donald Trump asked to have the lights turned down low and played that video of a South African party leader who is a minority. It's the fourth biggest party in the country. And even those crosses, I think you would have heard President Ramaphosa asking whether or not President Trump has been told about where exactly this is, because for those of us in the room, we also couldn't quite pinpoint where exactly in South Africa those crosses might be located. So insofar as that is concerned, it was very interesting to watch how President Trump actually repeated those false claims and didn't quite answer the question as to what would it take.
When he was preparing for his trip here, I noticed the president said he wanted to disabuse Trump of some of his misguided views.
Yep.
Did he have any idea of what was awaiting him in the Oval Office today?
Absolutely, and the South African government was clear in its communication that they're preparing for all eventualities. Just last week, you welcomed those 50-odd white Afrikaners into the U.S. It's clear that they've been doubling down. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on another channel was also doubling down on those falsehoods. So the South African government was fully aware of what could have come, even perhaps having those white Afrikaners rolled out in the Oval Office. So we were prepared for an ambush of sorts, and that's why back home there was lots of talk about the importance of Cyril Ramaphosa, the man, and how he would show up in that moment, given his experience as a negotiator, negotiating from an apartheid regime into a democratic dispensation. And that became critical in how he responded and allowed Trump to speak, but trying to push back, but not in a manner that baited him into some kind of a fight that would ultimately play into the political theater that has become the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Ziana Ngcobo is a distinguished South African journalist and a broadcaster, currently serving as a senior in politics reporter at Newsroom Africa. With over a decade of experience, she reports on political and commentary based on issues related to governance, political violence, and the dynamics within the African National Congress, the ANC. So she's one of the news reporters from South Africa that went to America to report on, the briefing of Cyril Ramaphosa and Donald Trump. And she is the one that asked Donald Trump about white genocide in South Africa.
And we've been saying, for this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America, we will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I'll say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone.
2,000 years later.
I know that you yourselves as the media, you wanted to see drama and something really big happening. And I'm sorry that we disappointed you somewhat. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, President Trump. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the delegation. Thank you. Yes,